Yeah.
Obsession or Get Out?
Oh, Get Out. Get Out, again, Get Out has children. Get Out has sons, many sons. And I think that Jordan Peele moved horror in a different direction than we were at that time. Like 2017, I think about the horror that was really popular. I mean, we had Paranormal Activity. We saw the rise of religious horror with The Conjuring and other things of that nature. We had some psychological thrillers. Horror, I think towards the mid to late 2010s was starting to feel repetitive almost in a sense. And it worked. It was formulaic. They found something that worked, and so they kept pumping out those types of films. And for the first time in I don't know when, I felt like it was a almost a renaissance for horror. And you just see a shift after 2017 of the horror movies that end up coming out. And I think there have been so many good ones that have come out in the 2020s. Um, and for instance, I think that people have been more apt to take risk. During COVID, there were a lot of horror movies that were made that couldn't be made in person, but they were like there's a horror movie that exists and everything is happening via Zoom. Like the whole thing is being shot via Zoom. Like just taking bold chances that, maybe right now it would seem kind of nonsensical because we're not doing that as much, but at the time it felt really poignant. And Get Out, outside of horror, also came out during a time where we were dealing or reckoning with a lot in this country, racially. It's post Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown, um, Sandra Bland, like, and two, I guess a third and final thing is that it's getting people to talk about things that I know I was talking with about my friends. I always say that there is there's a certain type of person sometimes that ends up dating white women, and when they choose to reproduce, it ends up creating a certain type of child. And I'm not saying that interracial relationships are inherently bad, but I think that sometimes we forget sometimes we forget that we're in America and that again, we've all been touched by all of these different things that are wrong with this country. And sometimes that spills out into our relationships. I always say that I think relationships are political. Who you choose to be with, who you choose to have sex with, who you choose to give yourself to in that way is very political, whether you believe it is or not, and who you feel like you don't want to or who you are not open to can also be political in a way. And so I think it got folks to talk about interracial relationships, how people can be liberal or liberal looking on the outside, but inside of themselves hold. I mean, Martin Luther King talked about liberals all the time. He was like, y'all ain't shit. You can read the books if you want to, but like the TLDR Spark Notes is like liberals ain't shit. And we've known this for a while. And something that I think people who are in interracial relationships maybe reckoned with or maybe walked away with or thought about when they watched this was like, oh, like I could lay down with this person and they still not see my humanity. I have someone who I will not say their name or in what type of relationship they have with me, but they have a white mother who, when Trump got elected into office, that was the first time they realized that their mother was racist. And when she became visibly upset, the first thing that her mother told her is, I don't understand. You're more white than you are black.
Hmm.
Like, and this is the person that birthed you, that's supposed to love you and not say things to harm you and hurt you, and saying something that like that hurtful coming from the person that gave you life, you know? And again, I'm not like anti-interracial. There's more nuance to the conversation. A lot of times I'm very just like maybe sometimes black and white when I'm speaking to my friends because I know they can understand the nuances and the intrinsics, or not the intrinsic, but the like intricacies of what I'm saying. But um yeah, I just think that it really got us having a conversation and looking at things differently outside of just horror. It literally was a cultural shift after Get Out. There's like a pre-Get Out and a post-Get Out. So very, 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 very long story short, it'll always be Get Out over a lot of movies. Not all movies, but a lot of them. And
Hmm.
definitely their sons, because their sons wouldn't be here without them. Literally in the we were talking about before we started recording, I'm glad that Curry Barker and what is her name? Is it Indy Navarrete? I hope I'm pronouncing her last name correctly. Indy Navarrete, who plays Nikki. I have noticed in their interviews that they are making sure to, you know, give Get Out their flowers. Indy has multiple times said, the facial stuff that she does in Get Out is very much, I'm trying to think of the woman's name who is in Get Out, and I'm so sad that Betty Gabriel. Yes, Betty Gabriel. Just like she got that from her. She would not have been able to do the Nikki thing that she does if she hadn't been influenced by that. So I do understand people's anything that becomes really popular, you always having that person like it's not that great. Like y'all are just hyping this up just to be different. And I don't agree with that, but I do agree with some people's critiques of a film like this. I love Curry Barker. He made this on a budget of $750,000. And like I think it might have a $200 million revenue by at this point. Like that is insane. Like I think the Blair Witch Project was the only other movie that did something like that. And I think they might be on track to supersede that in terms of, you know, what they were able to get out of it. But I just love Get Out, and I love whenever I watch things that were created post Get Out that I can clearly see the influence in.
So I definitely also go with Get Out, and it's not. I really enjoyed Obsession, but it's not close for me for all kind of the same reasons you laid out. And this kind of just gave me an idea for a social experiment. I might
Ooh.
clip that portion of this and put a poll on it,
You should. You should. I
just
just feel,
because
but I have a feeling though, Bruce, like your audience is gonna be like, what are you talking about? It's Get Out. Or maybe, who knows? I think I'm not saying
I
that
have
Get
a
Out didn't
there's
have praise.
a lot of white people
Oh,
I
I
know
guess
that
that's true. Well,
like
I
I
mean, Get Out did get a lot of praise. I sometimes I have a fuzzy memory of like I know it got a lot of praise. I remember seeing it in theaters like 3 times, but I don't, yeah, I don't know if it was the same level of like what we're seeing now with Obsession, the way that like movie theaters, it's been in movie theaters, what, 3 weeks, and there are still days where they're selling out. That is, if you know anything about films and movies, that is insane. That is insane. Like what he is doing is we haven't seen it before. We just it's wild. So, and it's rightly deserved. Like I followed him on YouTube. I love his, if you are interested in seeing more work from him without having to pay for it. He has short movies on YouTube. My favorite one is Milk and Cereal. He does a good job at playing a creepy white man for all intents and purposes. But again, well deserved. I love YouTube. I love seeing people from YouTube make that crossover and to I want Get Out to continuously be in people's mouths whenever they're speaking about its influence in on horror and psychological thrillers.
Greetings from the editing bay. The clip you just watched is a Patreon exclusive. If you'd like to see the full thing and support the growth of Black Oregon POV, become a member at patreon.com/Bruce Poinsett. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe so we can help grow this channel. And if you want more content, make sure to follow Black Oregon POV on Instagram.